All right, folks, so this week's course is called Dauphin Highlands, and it is a course in, I believe it's Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. As I pulled this course up in Golfnow, this one just looked like a decent course. I lucked out and found this course. Golfnow has been wise enough to say, oh, there are additional discounts on this course, blah, 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 without you having to actually open the page the course is on. So I investigated that and basically found out that I could get a round 18 in a cart on this course, and it was some ridiculously low price. I think it was like $15 for a mid-afternoon round in this course. Now, I wasn't expecting a whole lot. I was actually drove up to the course kind of like going, oh my God. The course is in the middle of Harrisburg, just maybe a mile from the Susquehanna River. Ultimately, the thing that I really looked at, the layout in Google Maps, the topology, what's in the area, how many houses are on the course or something like, near the course, what kind of roads are traveling around the course, what the general layout is and so forth. And I wasn't really enthusiastic about this course based upon my preliminary investigation, let's put it that way. Almost in the middle of Harrisburg. It wasn't too far from York. And the fact of the matter is it's past York, going north on 83 to the highway that you generally would take going across the Susquehanna to go up 81 or 80, heading northeast out towards the Poconos or out towards New Jersey. If you tell me there's a nice golf course along this road, I'll have to believe you, because at least one time I've actually been on this road and there was actually a pretty decent golf course not far from it. And the fact is that I passed several golf courses, and this is a routine thing. For every hour that you drive out of DC, you're going to pass like maybe 10 golf courses. So since this course is, I would say, about 2.5 hours out of DC, you got to go north of Baltimore, you got to go north of the border, and then you got to keep going, north of York and so forth. And so, that's about half an hour at least for every stage that you take. So you're going to pass about 30 good golf courses on the way to this course. Now, the question is, why play this course as opposed to any of the other 30 times 8, let's say, of golf courses that are around DC if you go around 360 degrees? Well, the thing about this course is it's actually a really nice course. It's not a great course. It's not a super amazing course that has a like a worldwide reputation, okay? But for what it is in terms of a course in Harrisonburg, it's actually pretty nice. It's 7,200 yards from the back tees. The price was really good. I'm sure it was a teaser price, but everything worked out really well. I actually bought some stuff in the pro shop. It was so cheap. The gas up there, I would say, cost me about a tank of gas to drive up there and back. So $50 worth of gas, $20 for the course. Had decent hot dogs, decent food, nice staff. It just was a decent place. I wouldn't say it was a spectacular place. It was not some fancy, standalone colonial style clubhouse, but it still was a really decently nice course. It wasn't a super luscious course with a lot of water on it. As a matter of fact, I wouldn't even say it had a lot of waste on it, but it had enough waste in places where you really didn't want to hit anyway, and only a few holes where the waste was really intrusive on the course. Most of the course was, hey, there's fairway, go out there, hit the fairway, have a great time. It wasn't wide enough to where you could just spray balls 45 degrees left and 45 degrees right and still come and play, but it was adequately tight enough to where, hey, look, there's a slope off going off to the right. You don't want to go there. Fine, don't hit there. You should play over to this side of the fairway, and there's a fairway bordering that side of the fairway. So if you do hit way off to the left, you can go over there in that fairway and find your ball. So most of the holes were bordered by another fairway on at least one side. Okay, all the holes were basically in this kind of rectangular, maybe parallelogram kind of layout, but there was enough verticality, certainly plenty of verticality to make it interesting. There were enough challenging par fives, challenging par fours, even decently challenging par threes. It was not a super difficult course, but it was difficult enough to make it interesting. There were plenty of good, interesting holes in this course. It was a slope 137 course from the back tees, and that is, I would say it's about a B difficulty in terms of average. I mean, on a flat scale from, A to E. It's hard enough to be interesting, but not overwhelmingly difficult. It's not like it's really going to bust your balls to play this course. And I would say that this course had about 14 holes that were a decent challenge. It had a couple of holes that were, okay. And it had some holes which, you had it, a little cappuccino, a little espresso going on there, where you were gonna be awake by the time you got to the green and put it out. Even if you were the most casual 90s players or 10 handicap or whatever, you still weren't gonna play these holes and fall asleep in the middle of them. Not saying that there weren't some holes that you would, but definitely there was some excitement out there in this course. So, not to make a big long video out of this course, I will say that it makes me think of that whole genre of videos where people talk about it's not what you think. 99.9% of the time that whole phrase irritates the hell out of me because how the hell is somebody else gonna know what I think or why I'm gonna think it? But having the experience of this course, I will say it was not what I was afraid it was going to be. I won't say that it was especially close or that the drive was especially short. The traffic was relatively mellow once you get past I don't care how you go to Frederick from west of the Potomac. It's going to be a pain in the ass, either going up 15 or going through the bridge and then going across the bridge across from Virginia to Maryland on 495 and then going up 270. I have avoided going that way many times lately, especially this year, because I know what happens on 270 going north from say Bethesda to Frederick, and it was as bad this time as it ever could have been. Plus, we passed this big ass accident going north on the south side, and I mean it was backed up for miles coming out of Bethesda, and I was just so glad. I was like, oh my god, look at all those people sitting over there on the Saturday, and just hating life. Luckily, it wasn't all that hot this weekend. It was a nice weekend, about 75 degrees, and man, I was so glad I didn't get caught in that kind of a traffic or accident. It was just slow. It was the normal slow that you have going north on 270. Got to Frederick, 15, boom, gone. Just gone. So it's not like you can really leave DC and go up into Pennsylvania or up, out through eastern Philly or New Jersey and not deal with any traffic on the weekends. There's gonna be traffic, but I think this course was just about worth all the hassle to play it. It was a decent course. Now, I will fully admit that I was driving back thinking, well, what if you just stopped at Bull Run and played? And I was thinking that going up there, well, what if we just stop at Little Bennett and play? Or what if we just stop at the Links of Shallendon and play? And this is hitting me about every half an hour. I'm thinking I know of at least one good course in the area that I've played before that this course can't be better than that course. Fact of the matter is, it wasn't better, but it was worth the trip. And for that, I will give it a B star. It is not quite good enough of a course to be a B plus course. It's just not that good. It's a good course, but it's not that good. It's a relatively quiet course. It has one road that goes by at least the northern half of the course, but there's almost no traffic on that road. There's some houses there, but they're way on the other side of the street. There's almost no houses on the street. There's an airplane, a big airport that's on the other side of the Susquehanna across from this course. There is almost no traffic from that airport across this course. Sitting in my house and there's planes, every 5 minutes going over my house. Nothing like that whatsoever. And it was the regional, it was Harrisburg Regional Airport right across the river from this course. There was one little 727 that flew over the course. You could barely hear it, no problem at all. If there was any kind of noise problem on that course during this round, it was from the people I was playing with who insisted on playing music in their carts. I didn't even argue with them, didn't say a word to them. But at least they were nice enough to turn the music down when I was teeing off. I got to give them credit for that. At least they said, "Well, we're gonna turn it off when I got on the tee box." That's fine. Better than nothing. So I won't go into any kind of talk about that today. Won't go into talk about a lot of other things that I normally talk about today. I just think in this case, in this particular course, you have to weigh the 2.5 hour drive through all that traffic on a weekend to whether the course was worth going that far through all that and all the time. It was about 5 hours of driving combined to actually play that course. So there's an additional burden that courses that are farther away from home have to deal with to get you to come there and play them. Okay, it's not like you can just zip right out. It's a half an hour down the street from your house and go out there and play. Okay, so they have to be good enough to be worth that trip, worth the extra time. Even if you don't really look at the money so much, you're just looking at the time. And so I could have finished finished a round, and been home and had a shower and everything. If a course is half an hour away from my house, by the time I drove to this other course and back, and then you throw in 4 hours for the round, that's 9 hours. So it's definitely something that has to be considered. I will end this saying, Dauphin Highlands, a decent B-Star course, nice facility, just skirting, worth the trip going out there to play it. An interesting course, a different course, much more of a direct in-your-face kind of challenge of a course. Certainly a good 137 slope course in the back tees, and I think a honest, robust challenge of a course. And I definitely will give this a B-Star. That's Dauphin Highlands in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania.